Yeah, g'day, welcome into the Champagne Rugby. Manaia in for whoever it is that usually does this, and McOnie live and direct from France at about, 1:30 in the morning, is it over there, McOnie?
2:15 in the morning.
Brutal. What's the temperature like over there? What are we in for? Because we're coming over in about 3 weeks. It obviously looked hot at Stade de France the other day. Is it still, it's tail end of summer, but it looks still to be scorching during the day?
The sweat levels are high, Manaia. I'm going with a little bit of a layer, like a singlet, just to soak up the early sweat before it gets through to the main shirt. But once it gets through to the main shirt, then you've got all sorts of problems going on. So I would describe my socks as spongy and not in a good way. So this is the thing. It's 26 degrees here. It was 26 degrees at kickoff, and it was 9 o'clock at night in Bordeaux in the south of France. Paris was even hotter at 30 degrees. So I just reckon you got your mankini and your whatever your most skimpy outfit is. You like a NBA singlet, right? So
yeah, I'll rock an NBA singlet, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You'll be fine.
All right, that's what I was going to pack anyway, let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah, as you mentioned, 30 degrees on that Friday night, Saturday morning, our time when the All Blacks, I was about to say the Warriors, they also lost, went down 27-13 in the World Cup opener. Here's how it sounded.
Rugby World Cup 2023, opening match. It's the Eiffel Tower versus the Sky Tower. It's Mona Lisa versus Lisa Lewis. It's Rembrandt versus the Ram Raids. It's Lane Manaia versus the Rainbow Warrior. Camembert versus Colby. L'Oreal versus Laurel Hubbard. It's Michelin Stars versus the Red Fox Family Bar. Mount Blanc versus the Mount Vic Tunnel. It's Chateauneuf-du-Pape versus Past Me the Country Cast. Lyon versus Levin. Paris versus Palmy. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the opening match of Rugby World Cup 2023. France versus the All Blacks. Live and free on iHeartRadio and Radio Hauraki.
Stirring stuff, G-Lane. Can you feel it? Can you feel the atmosphere? It's building. It's finally here, and I'm harbouring a lot of anxiety, G-Lane.
Bottle up that anxiety, Matt Heath. It's under control. Everything is under control. First set piece for the All Blacks.
Harbouring a lot of anxiety around this first line out.
Got to get rid of your anxiety, Matt Heath. You don't want to start betraying that across the nation just yet. They change positions late. Does Captain Caveman off the top. Quick ball, centre field, straight up the centre goes Ioane! Ioane over the 22! Great run from Ioane and set move, quick ball! All Blacks go to the right hand side, Jordan, Barrett, they're just 10 metres out, what a break from what a go! Ioane, and a set move from the All Blacks, they're hot on attack! Smith, it's a penalty to the All Blacks, and that looks like a professional foul, Piper, All Blacks. What a break early, Matt Heath.
Yeah.
The tap and go from the All Blacks. Aaron Smith, they're knocked back 10. They drive it up. They're just 1 metre out, the All Blacks. Digging in for it. Goes Jordan, playing halfback.
Looks like it's the All Blacks that have come out on the glass barbie today.
Moanga, the crossfield kick from Barrett to Talia. Mark Talia scores! Princess Mark Talia scores. The All Blacks strike first. It's 5-0. Chip and chase for Barrett.
Oh no!
No, it's Will Jordan.
Will Jordan.
He was competing for it. He's being penalised for taking the man in the air. But he was going for the ball, was the pants man. The French are all moaning like they're football players.
I'm about to show you fun play.
Oh no, here we go.
Oh no.
Rubbish.
Here we go. They've gone to the TMO. Will Jordan is running through.
Okay, this will be your best angle. Yako.
Okay, this is trouble for the All Blacks.
Oh no.
Bodie Barrett.
What are you supposed to do? You're both in the air.
He's competing for it. Look, he's looking up. He's looking up. He's looking up.
Send off the Frenchman. He hipped him. He hit Will Jordan in the face with his hip.
Will Jordan was looking in the air and just ran into him. And let's listen. He's got a yellow card.
I mean, what are you supposed to do under that circumstance?
Get out of here. Will Jordan.
Piper.
Number 14.
Yeah, Artie.
With your eyes on the ball, you also have to get your timing right.
What?
He's still on the floor. He overruns under it.
Rubbish.
This is bullshit. Can they get a consolation try here? Savia, at least for the TAB, Savia. Do it for the TAB, Savia. Savia still driving to the line. Oh, it gets ripped off him. And that'll be the game.
Cross forward.
That is it. That is it. Jaco Piper calls time here on this opening match of Rugby World Cup 2023, and the All Blacks have gone down 29 points to 13.
So a little bit disappointing, and as you can imagine, James McOnie, the country is very sombre this morning on a Monday morning. What did you take away from that game overall?
I took away that they ran out of beer and the queues were too long for beer. It was a big faux pas by the French, but there's 79,000 fans there, so I mean, Asahi just weren't ready for it, you know? They needed to sort of like realise that it's France versus New Zealand. Kiwis come in hot. As for the game, I thought that it's not the worst, and I wasn't surprised that we lost. I think France are kind of like what New Zealand were a few years ago, and just clinical, and they turned defence into attack. And just near the end, when the way they pounced on those mistakes, and the excitement and the pace that they just launched into us and went for the jugular, it's a bit worrying. I don't want to. It's a bit like the Penrith Panthers, but they've got some players there who I almost feel like, for example, Damien Penaud, the right wing, he is a love child of Jeff Wilson and Sir John Kirwan. He's definitely, you chuck some black glasses on him, some black rim glasses, and he is JK's love child. So he's about 6'4". He's a cool guy winger, you know, the cool guys who just sort of run as if they look that they're at 3/4 pace, but they're actually hooning. And he's a massive handful. And all of our guys, Rico made one break. I think you would have seen that one.
Yep.
And we just didn't get them the ball anymore. We kicked a lot of possession away.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because we were down at the Lula's Inn here. We're having a bit of a bottomless brunch to watch the first game. And the place erupted because that Rieko Ioane break was in like the first 2 or 3 minutes, wasn't it? And everyone was like, here we go. This is what we do. World Cups, you know, the All Blacks always turn it on. And then after that, I felt like we didn't really fire a shot. I kind of felt like we got sucked into their game plan. There were parts there where it became a box kickathon. I feel like, what's their fullback's name? Thomas Ramos.
Ramos.
He was turning our back three around almost regularly. It's like they didn't realise this bloke can kick the absolute skin off the ball. And I felt like we got dragged into the game that they wanted to play, the box kickathon and the force back. And they were better at it.
Well, that's the thing. Ramos has been kicked for his picking or kicked for his kicking, both, because he is metronomic off the tee, and then out of hand, like you say, he's just so accurate, and the little exocet missiles just going darting in, and he can run as well. I saw him do one of those sort of almost like a Billy Slater like support line from through the ruck, just sweating on the forward who made a half break, and I was going, Ramos, you just read it like a book. And then their other fullback who's haunted us in the past, Jaminae, he came on and scored, and so they've even got depth now, which kind of sucks, because you used to know that once the 60-minute mark and we brought our finishers on, and they brought their finishers on, we knew who was going to win that one. But now it's like, holy shit, they've got depth.
Yeah, 100%. But I still do think, I mean, if we're putting our silver linings cap on here and we're looking at what the All Blacks did well, like we mentioned, the Rieko Ioane break, I thought Mark Taylor looked great every time he had the ball. I got to be honest, I feel like we kind of just biffed it out to him a few times. We were just like, hey, can you try and make something out of this? Because we've got bugger all else going on. But what do you reckon with the silver lining? I felt like when we did play with the ball, we did fire a few shots. We just didn't have it enough, maybe.
I'm with you, Manaia. I'm optimistic. I reckon it's actually not so bad, because the things that we probably got wrong we can remedy. And I know that like the SOS for Ethan Blackadder is definitely, obviously Blackadder for comedy value, but also because of the toughness, you know. He's tough. But I do feel sorry for Summer Penny Finau, who's played the absolute house down. And I think he would have had a field day out there because he's just putting in the big hits. But yeah, I think the silver linings were that Aaron from distribution sort of turn back time like Cher always wanted to, and he looked good. He was just hounding Dupont, and I actually thought that Richie Mwanga, even though it wasn't his best game, the try-saving tackle, just some of those things that, those like magical things that he can do. It looked like he was about to unlock things, but in the end, we're not in such a bad place. There was a late change with Sam Cane. Remember, Guzzler comes back in. Tyrell Lomax will have to sort out his huge gash. And once he gets that gash sorted out, we know that good shit can happen. So, I'm with you, mate. It's not terminal for the All Blacks. I think they can turn a corner. Oh, of course, Udon comes back. 40 at some point.
Yeah.
So look, it's okay. It's okay.
Well, it's a great pleasure of mine to welcome in a man who's sussed out a few gashes in his time, G Lane. We've gone over the sore points from the fixture. But what do you reckon were the silver linings for you?
Silver linings for me was the French centre, Gael Fuck You. I believe he played really well, Fuck You, and Jailbait, the first five. What a replacement you can bring in.
No.
What?
G-Lane, it's Jelly Bear versus Fozzie Bear. I've always loved a Jelly Bear. Or are they gummy bears? Like the Jelly Bear must be the softer version of it. And to see a Jelly Bear play at first five is a great thing for me as a sugar addict.
But he had that look of someone who could well be some jailbait if he ever gets in trouble. That's the look he gave me. And Fuck You had a strong game. It's had a strong 80 minutes. I'm glad they kept him on the field for 80 minutes. But between that and all the clock gobbling that was going on by the French, almost got me in a bit of bother on the commentary, James McOnie. There was complaints streaming in, mainly from my mum, who was listening. She said I said cock too many times, and she said I was treading a fine line with the term clock gobbling.
I love that has happened to you, because it just proves that no matter how long you do this for, obviously... no matter where you get to, your mum's always going to be like, oh, I don't know if you should be bloody saying that. It happened to me.
It's about time that your mum intervened with the commentary. We sort of needed somebody to come in that you'd actually listen to, because like sometimes we suggest stuff and you kind of do this sort of like far away look, but at least your mum has hopefully got your ear.
But saying that, my dad just gave me a quiet nod of, I thought it was good. More cock. More le cock.
More le cock. By the way, Manaia, isn't it weird that you asked G Lane for the silver linings and he talks about the French team like he's the fuck you was good.
No, look, I think the silver lining is the fact that it was one of the great sandbags of all time, and like the Warriors sandbagged against the Panthers, we'll see the French in the final. And they'll come in with some big Lecoq energy, and we will flick the end of that Lecoq and deflate it in the final. I think same with the NRL. I don't think it's a massive deal. Everyone's going on about the first pool game we've ever lost, so it's like, well, it's going to happen eventually.
I know. But I just kind of think, like, the weird part is we now carry this loss with us through the rest of pool play, and we're going to hump some really terrible teams in pool play. And then I never know what to read into these. Like, you run up 100 points against Uruguay, and then what? Like, does that mean that we're going to beat France next time we see them? I don't know how to read into what's going to be pretty pedestrian pool play from here on.
Well, it's a full-on training run, isn't it, those games? The Namibia, the Uruguay. It actually does need to be a second-tier World Cup, because I saw Romania came back and got absolutely spanked by Ireland. And, there needs to be a big boys World Cup. I'm sorry, but it has to happen, because there's no point pissing around with these minnow nations that are going to go. And like you say, it could be a hundy against one of these teams. Mind you, they're probably fancying their chances now. Well, I also spare a thought for I've already mentioned Summer Penny Fenau, but Luke Jacobson, because Ethan Blackadder has been pretty much said, hey, we need you right now. And you can imagine poor old Luke going, what about, I play blindside too. Come on, guys.
I was supposed to be at the last one, and now I'm here, and you're trying to bring someone else in.
And what? And now you're doing it again to me? How could you do that? I say.
Looking at the Namibia's our next game. It's in 4 days. It's another 7 a.m. They are paying $81 at the TAB. So
get
on it.
To me, no, don't get on it. For me, I think the TAB are missing a trick here. They should be playing $10 million to one. Like, just put a silly number out there and a few thousand people will put $1 on it because no one's going to put money on 80 to 1, are they? They are more than 80 to 1 outsiders. Come on,
no.
Namibia. It is South Africa C. That is the South African C team. So they may have a little bit of firepower.
I just think, like this morning, and I mentioned this on the Daily Agenda podcast this morning, but we watched the Wales versus Fiji game, which is an excellent game, great finish. Fiji looked tremendous, and in my desperation this morning, and in my deep depression, I may have been heard to say, geez, I don't know if the All Blacks would beat this Fiji team if they came up against them. I've since cooled. I've come around a little bit. I had a coffee, had a cheese scone, and just relaxed a little bit, and I've come off it. But I just kind of feel like, I don't know, if we lost a little bit, we lost a lot of the luster last World Cup, and I wonder, is it just a malaise, or should we be worried, James?
We should be worried because I feel like that zip that you see from some players, and you just go, oh, there they go, and it almost startles you. Sometimes with the All Blacks, you go, well, Rico's got it, and then Will Jordan, and then you're sort of waiting, like who else is going to show that snap? And there is the talent that you see from Fiji. Like I saw a break tonight where someone went through, and there were 8 Fijians in support, like all running as fast as each other. I was going, what the first of all, who do you choose? But then I think Semi Radradra did exactly the right thing, and he gave it to his captain, and oh my God, what a try that was.
Yeah, the numbers on the back of the jerseys for the Fijian 15s teams have always been nominal. I feel like they just put them in the pile in the middle of the changing rooms at the start of the game, and everyone just goes through and picks whichever one they can fit into, like a club rugby team, like a senior B team. I guess the parity is good for the tournament as a whole. Obviously, we're sitting here wallowing in a loss, but doesn't it make the competition a bit more interesting? And like you were saying, Lane, we as Kiwis, we don't get into the competition until it actually starts. And now all of a sudden it is starting to feel a little bit of World Cup fever now, just because we don't know who's going to win. Yeah,
well, I don't think a lot of people like myself aren't really going to get into it till October the 15th, to be honest, which is the quarterfinal, the first quarterfinal for the All Blacks, which is either against Ireland or South Africa. Now, I know I'm being presumptuous here that we're going to beat Italy
and Namibia
and Uruguay, but it's kind of, a part of me is a bit like that, James. You've got 4 more weeks before knockouts. What are you going to do with yourself?
4 more weeks, boys.
No, I'm counting it down to when the ACC arrives for the pub crawl, the garden bar,
the beer garden tour,
Bar du Jardin,
the beer jardin,
the export big garden tour. Anyway, look, yes, I am waiting for you guys to turn up. There was a guy last night, or when the All Blacks played, an All Blacks fan who said, "Hey, this tournament's won in October, not September," and I was going, "Yes." Soundbite, good shit. And he also had perfect hair. So I was like, how do you do that in 30-degree heat? Like, I was just a drowned rat and like an otter interviewing him fresh out of the water. But the other thing I wanted to say is Fiji and Wales, probably mainly Fiji, but that game just this morning, single-handedly, like, they're saving rugby, those teams, eh? Yeah. It's like, oh, you're not going to run it? We'll run it. This is give the people what they want. So I was waiting for a Russell Crowe moment from someone like Semi Radradra. Are you not entertained? Like, there was amazing footy. Because even the Welsh threw it around there at the start of the second half. Yeah. You see that?
Well, if Semi had latched onto that last one, it was a 7-style bounce pass that went to him out on the wing. And I was saying this morning, I think almost 8 times out of 10, Semi catches that because that's how they've always played. Is that razzle-dazzle. They could be down by 100. They're still going to throw that pass. They're still going to run it out from the ends of the earth. So that one, Wales almost got away with one there, didn't they?
It's a fair point. I was looking at that thinking he should score that. But in cricketing terms, it was a good length. It was just there where we just it bowled him. It bowled him, really, because it just got him. If it bounced half a metre before him, he would have snaffled that and scored. No worries at all.
Bit of movement off the same.
Star. But one thing, shout out to Dan Bigger, who got smashed by Semi Radradra about 4 times and was still yelling and screaming and going for it, doing the full koala tackle, like a sort of like just clutching them and getting smashed backwards. So I admire the courage of that little fella.
It's the Reece Walsh approach.
Yeah, I got something to admit. I watched the last 10 minutes of that game on my phone at the back of the school hall at Vauxhall School Primary during the opening of Book Week and the Book Week costume parade.
Oh.
And I was surrounded by other fathers while we kind of pretended going, oh, look, cute. Look, he's dressed as a Pokemon. Oh, cute. Look, he's another fucking Harry Potter. And while we were watching that, and it kept kind of the quality of the broadcast kept going from high def to low def on your phone, you know.
Yeah.
And it just went low def when Radradra dropped it on the, and we were cheering that they were going to score because obviously the pass went up and it was like yeah, and then it was like we're at the back of the hall during Book Week. We're just really happy to see another Harry Potter. Sorry.
Coming up next, Ralph Lane.
No, Ralph Lane, my son, he went as a hot dog.
What book was that from?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Was that from the menu of your local?
No, there is a book called Hot Dog. There were some questionable ones there. People come as Michael Jordan, and they said, we've come as Michael Jordan from his autobiography. I was like, yeah, you're reaching, mate.
Did they do the face?
Did you take it personal?
No, I tell you what, there was one close one, and I thought that, I said, so one kid came in full Liverpool kit with an afro and black stubble.
And
I was
all right. Like the scouts.
yeah, came as Mo Salah. I was like, he was one bit of makeup away from creating a scene at Vauxhall School Primary. But he looked great, though.
You could have just taken that story straight up to the Herald and disgraced the school.
Oh, yeah. No, it would have ended up on the on a Devonport Facebook group and then picked up by the Herald. That's normally how those racist things go in Devonport.
Hey, just about the semi at the end, and we were all there with him. I feel like that they never show, when there's a big play at the end, they never show a replay.
Yeah.
And then I saw someone freeze frame it and chuck it on Facebook, and it was actually a 3-on-1. They could have really just, they didn't even have to throw the big long pass. Is that right, Manaia?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
That is right.
Yeah.
But that is not how Fiji play. This was my point. That's not what they would have done. Any other team, absolutely, you're right. They would have gone through the hands. And he honestly, there was no one within 20 metres of him. But the guy who spotted him, both of their eyes were very wide. There was intense eye contact. And every Fijian's born knowing exactly what that look means. That look means fucking spread it. And that's exactly what
coming your way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which way it ends up in your vicinity. You just have to snaffle it and score and do that. They would have had to score a conversion as well, I think. Is that right? But anyway,
they would have.
Amazing game. It's I'm about to run out of juice on my laptop, and it's 2:34 a.m. Is that okay, G Lane? Are you happy to to love?
Yeah, you're living in different time zone there, James. It's okay.
Just quickly, can I just before you go? What's the vibe? This should have been the first question that I asked. What's the vibe in France?
Oh, the vibe is amazing. The vibe. Yes, I think. Who's it? I think I've been asked that question so many times. 3 times by Tony Lyle, actually, in the Champagne Rugby podcast. Wonderful question. But I'm glad you've. This is what happens if you spend enough time in a mainstream media outlet. You will ask about the vibe, and it is amazing. Good on you guys. Great training.
Do they actually care though? Like, is it sometimes when there's a sporting event going on, sometimes it can get a little bit lost, particularly in like bigger countries like France. It's like when a Blues game's going on in Auckland, you can't actually tell, but when a Chiefs game's going on in Hamilton, everyone knows about it. Is it closer to Chiefs or Blues?
No, it's exactly like that, Manaia, because up in Paris, they were just kind of like going, rugby, and then there's a few people who kind of showed a bit of an interest because, there's enough signs up and there's enough sort of drunken fans singing and stuff. They go, oh, okay, it's happening. But hopped on the train, and there were a few French people who realised we were Kiwis, and they brought the copy of the paper, and it had the headlines, and they're going, oh, did you see this? And it's like, yeah, mate, I saw it. And so now they're interested. As soon as France got that win, it feels like the nation's going, oh, yeah. And you know how everyone says, don't count your chickens? Well, they're always counting chickens here. It's the cock country. They're counting le coq, and they just go, yeah, it's ours now. They believe.
Well, consider the coqs counted. McOnie, we'll let you get to sleep, mate. Enjoy your time. We'll see you when we get over there.
Night, Jimmy. Love you.
Good night. See you guys. So we can top and tail G Lane just like you wanted.
Beautiful. all I wanted to hear. That's all I wanted to hear. And so this, we mentioned it on the daily agenda, Manaia. This is the longest world sports tournament in the world. This is the longest run. It runs for 51 days.
Yeah.
So outside like even the FIFA World Cup, Men's World Cup, that's over in 29.
Yeah, well, the amount of texts that I got on Saturday morning saying, when are you going to France?
Yeah.
It was just so many people. When are you going to France? We're not going for another 3 weeks.
Yeah, and even then, we're only halfway through the tournament.
Yeah, and not going to a game.
No. Well, we're going to go to the fan zone because I saw some great footage of the fan zone in the Place de la Concorde in Paris. That looked pretty mean. And I think we're going to go watch the All Blacks play Uruguay, I believe. Maybe Italy. No, Uruguay from the Place de la Concorde. And plus, I think there is a South Africa-Ireland game. I think there's a crunch game on in Paris around the same time as we're there as well. We'll be doing the daily agenda from there. We'll probably do some Champagne Rugby from there as well. We're taking over a bunch of rugby balls. I think we're going to try and play the biggest game of touch, public touch in front of the Eiffel Tower. How do you reckon that'll go with the gendarmes?
Well, this is the issue. I think France was the first place I saw armed policemen just wandering around in public in Paris. I don't know how well they're going to take to...
Harmless. It'll be harmless because there'll be a bunch of kind of overweight middle-aged dudes with their shirts off playing skins versus non-skins with a touch ball. I don't think they'll shoot us.
Well, I don't know.
It depends.
What have they got the guns for then? If they're not going to shoot us, they definitely put the willies up me. I was just thinking about like the next few pool games, and obviously we're going to try a lot of stuff. Somebody asked me a question a few weeks ago on one of the podcasts, or maybe commentary, I don't know, about what is Damian McKenzie's role going over there in this tournament, because obviously Mo'unga's first choice, first five, Barrett first choice, second five. You would probably even say Geordie Barrett is second choice, second five. And Damian McKenzie's role in my mind is to absolutely obliterate these minnow teams. He's going to play so many pool games, and he's going to look like the Michael Jordan of rugby union out there.
He's basically the napalm. Minnow nations. They come over and he just napalm for
the small jungle villages of the World Cup.
Yeah, a little Uruguay will go, Jesus Christ, this little goddamn hot stepper.
The humanity.
You're right though. But I mean, do you rest them and bring out a B team and rest the players when they're not actually firing? Do you rest players ready for a big game when they haven't actually performed, or do you keep playing those teams to get their combinations right and get them into form?
Yeah, so that's what I was sort of going to get to is what combinations do you want to see? Because I do think that you need to try a few different combos in these next few games, particularly against your Namibias, your Uruguays. And so, like, who would you want to see out there that you didn't see? I'll go first. Obviously, Damian McKenzie. I don't know if you could have put him in this game. But for me, Lester Whanganuku needs to be on the field.
Yeah.
And only playing 15 minutes of him. If I'm playing against the All Blacks and I only see 15 minutes of Lester, that's a win for me. Like, thank God he wasn't out there for longer.
Yeah, but also I think you also need to give Lester Whanganuku a bit of confidence as well. He needs a bit of BD confidence. And if he gets that from Namibia or from Uruguay or whatever, then a good thing. Because even that 15 minutes against France, he got sent out like with the worst possible scenario. All Blacks down by 13 or whatever. Nothing to win. And he did look a little bit scratchy on defence when he got that kick in behind him, which ended up in that last try.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, you know what I mean? But I'm not saying it's his fault.
No.
He got put into the sit, but it'd be good to have him out there, like you're saying, and get him to carve up Namibia and go, actually, I'm going to carve up this World Cup.
Yeah, and if we, like I've been saying this before, but if we are saying that Super Rugby is the best competition in the world, and that's what we are still claiming, he was the best player in Super Rugby this year, at least in my eyes, then why not play him? You know, ipso facto, he's one of the best players in the world. And I think why they don't is because that would require a bit of jiggery pokery in the back three. For my mind, Will Jordan needs to go back to 15 to bring Lester on. And I don't know what that means for Beauden Barrett. I'm just saying that if I was playing against the All Blacks, that's the back three I would not want to see.
Yeah, Beauden Barrett probably coming off the bench for Mo'unga in the last 20 or something.
Or just cover, because he can play, cover the fullback, cover the first five. Maybe that's the way that one shakes out. Was there anyone else that you thought maybe we could have put in, or maybe if they were, if Frizzell was back, if he was healthy?
Yeah, I think Frizzell, people, I get hit up a lot by people who give me their opinions on rugby, and particularly the All Blacks over the last 24 hours. And someone did say that the All Blacks are at their best when they've got a Jerome Kono or a a hard-hitting,
Liam Squire.
a hard-hitting kind of number 6 that just grinds out and just smashes people. Your Jerry Collins kind of role, and we didn't really have that. I mean, with Papali'i, he's a big unit, and yeah, I don't know, yeah. Frizzell would be great. Frizzell in his last game, his home game in the All Blacks, was outstanding.
It was incredible. It was almost unstoppable.
Yeah, good to get him have a run. It's a shame that I don't know. It'd be good to see Camroids. I'd like to see Camroids
off the
get
bench,
some.
perhaps.
I'd see Camroids at halfback. I'd like to see him play a few more minutes.
I think Geordie back in there would have made a big difference because
Yep.
there was so much kicking in that game.
Yeah,
I've got to be honest with you. I almost wouldn't mind seeing Geordie himself back at fullback either, because
God, yeah, we've really got a lot of players who can play fullback, don't we?
yeah. But well, if we're going to get engaged in this force back competition, which is what that game was, and it looked to me, I said this to McOnie just before we walked in. It looked to me like no one had watched old Ramos play before, because every time he kicked the ball, it went behind our players. It's like, did they have a look at film of this guy?
He's got a foot like a traction engine. He can kick goals too from 55 metres. I think also that's an area of concern a little bit when you look at the English. Do you see the English just kick the Argentinians to death with 14 players?
Into oblivion.
Yeah, they just kick penalties and droppies from the 45-metre drop goal as well. It was old school. And France were the same. They were kicking penalties from everywhere. And, you know, Mo'unga didn't have a great day with the boot.
No.
Missed a couple of both conversions. But we obviously didn't get anywhere near them to get the penalty to kick it over. But that is slightly of a concern, I don't know.
Mate, that one that was over halfway that Ramos kicked, that landed in the crowd.
Yeah.
He could have gone back another 10 metres and still snapped that one off. I don't know if it's like Stade de France. I mean, they're not at elevation by any stretch.
Well, that's what we were talking about in the commentary. I was with Matt Heath, and we were like, how are they carving off? Like, is it the ball? Is it how, the FIFA World Cup, they always go on about that. They always release a new ball for every FIFA World Cup. And there was a controversy one year, I think it was in Germany, they put dimples all over it.
Yeah.
And it was swinging like a mofo. Like the strikers were getting it to swing from the spot kick when they were doing penalties.
Right.
Is it the ball? I don't know, but they seem to be carving off 60 metres, like both teams.
Well, to throw a bit more fuel onto your conspiracy theory here, have you ever, before a couple of weeks ago, ever seen someone punt a ball so hard it deflated? Because Antoine Dupont did that just a couple of weeks ago, and it was like he kicked the ball so hard that by the time they caught it, it had no air in it left. Are we experiencing Deflate-Gate here in the Rugby World Cup?
Potentially, but look, with Deflate-Gate was a bit different, wasn't it? Because that was NFL, and it was you could grip the ball a bit harder if you're a quarterback.
Overinflate-Gate.
Overinflation, because if you overinflate a ball, does it go further?
Oh my God, is this what Luxon's been crapping on about in the election campaign? Is this the inflation he's talking about?
Yeah, it must be. That's the inflation that needs to be put under control.
Oh my God.
But maybe we experiment. Let's head down to the park. Let's
Yep.
get a couple of balls. Let's find out the PSI, regulation PSI for rugby ball. Let's overinflate it.
It's definitely a thing because do you remember those yellow Adidas balls that they brought out
Yes.
in the early 2000s?
They were real pointy.
And back in the day, that was when everyone was kicking the spiral punt.
Yeah.
And those balls would go about 20% further than any other ball. And so there was obviously something spongy or something weird going on with it. So if you're ever in the market for a ball to make yourself look good when you're kicking goals, then go for the Adidas ball.
Yeah.
Not an ad. But so, yeah, there's definitely something in it. I don't know.
Because I don't think I've seen, because I'm now thinking about it a bit further, the players who are inside their 22, and this is New Zealand included, this was Bodie Barrett and Ramos. They were inside their 22, and they would carve off like from 22 to 22, and then there'd be a line out on our 22 or vice versa. I was like, damn.
Yep. That Ramos got a right foot like a howitzer. It was out of control. So, I don't know. Maybe we need to launch an ACC investigation.
Okay, ACC investigates Ballgate. Ballgate. Let's get onto it.
Overinflated balls.
Yeah. So, hey, look, it's not, don't go and cut your wrists in the work toilets just yet. Mm-hmm. I think on October 15th, potentially, or the 16th, the day after the quarterfinal, pencil in a wrist slitting. But at this stage, there's no panic. We've got 3 pretty simple games coming up. I mean, if we lose to Italy in the pool play, we don't deserve to go anywhere near the knockouts. No. So, but saying that, I think we'll comfortably get through, and it'll be quarterfinals time on the 15th. But Namibia, we'll profile Namibia game later in the week, I think.
Yep, we've got 4 days and 18 hours at the time of recording this. Saturday, another 7 a.m. as I mentioned before, against Namibia. I'll be very interested to see what the team list is there.
Yeah,
I'll probably hear about it tomorrow.
Yeah. How's your sources?
They've been pretty cool. I've given them a couple of days.
You have,
Yeah, look,
how
they're hurting.
How do you work your sources? Is it just pure blackmail? Do you just say, look, let me know, or I release the photos, or is it a friendly contact, like, hey, Manaia, I got the inside oil?
For anyone who hasn't heard, I've accurately predicted the last 2 All Black squads, at least 24 hours out from them being named.
Yeah, you got the Papali'i thing.
I got the Papali'i.
Yeah, you got the the Dobro coming back in and Havili on the bench.
Dobro, I got the Havili of it all.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not at liberty to divulge my sources.
Are these sources under duress or a friendly source? Like this is all I need to ask. Like, have you got a gun to their head, or are they a friendly source?
Look, all I would say is it would be a damn shame, if anyone was to fall down a flight of stairs over there. A lot of tourist activity, a lot of people going around seeing the sights. I would just hate for someone to fall down the stairs over there, and it could happen. So yeah, I can't say where they come from.
Okay, it's under duress.
But I'll have a crack at it later on this week.
So when do you think your sources? Wednesday? You think your sources will be good by Wednesday?
I'll contact them today, and we'll see how we go. I think so. They'll name the team on Thursday. So yeah, Wednesday.
You'll have it Wednesday.
I'll have it Wednesday.
Ah, look forward to that, Manaia Stewart. Look forward to it. I don't know where you're getting that source from, but
yeah,
I'm keen to get to the bottom of it. I'm actually going to follow you around for a little bit and just try and get what's going on.
Wouldn't recommend it. Didn't work out well for the last guy that tried it. All right, that'll do us for the Champagne Rugby today. We'll be back again, same time, same channel, next week to break down all of the latest in the Rugby World Cup. We'll see you then.